Now, Mary Johnson, an analyst for an organization, said those figures could be slightly higher if inflation runs hot in the coming months, with a possible cost of living increase of 11.4%. If inflation cools, the 2023 increase may be only 9.8%. However, the downside in trends is that it may still not be enough to cover seniors' costs if price hikes are not tamed in the coming months. Higher income individuals may have to pay more for Medicare Part B premiums, which are typically deducted from Social Security checks and have increased each year since 2015. In 2022, those premiums increased 14.5% to bring the standard monthly premium to $170. An increase in Social Security could also pay tens of thousands of low-income retirees into a higher income tax bracket, meaning they may have to start paying taxes on their benefits when they had previously never done so. Meanwhile, the more money given to Social Security beneficiaries, everybody, means the faster the program's funds will be depleted. At its current level, Social Security won't be able to pay full benefits by 2035 if Congress doesn't act. Right now, a combination of record high prices and a record number of job openings has been encouraging more retirees to go back to work. According to a recent survey, the crisis prompted many people to accelerate their retirements, with 60% of retirees saying they left the workforce earlier than planned, and 70% indicating they left it at least 2 years early. Additionally, 42% of respondents in a nationwide Retirement Institute survey said they plan to file for Social Security benefits early and continue to work, up from 36% in 2021. The work opportunities are there, even though job openings fell in June. There are still 1.8 million open jobs per available worker. Social Security beneficiaries who go back to work may stand to earn more short-term and can ultimately increase their monthly benefit checks. If you plan to return to work, you should notify the SSA right away. But up to $10,000 will be going out to eligible low-income households this month. Bernie Sanders is teaming up with several other Democrats to push for new monthly payments for all Americans. And Congress may reinstate expanded monthly benefit checks very soon. But all we know is that Bernie Sanders pushed for the inclusion of a child tax credit extension in the Inflation Reduction Act. It is clear that American families need more urgent relief than a larger package will provide. Democrats in last year passed the American Rescue Plan, meaning it could be approved with a party line vote in the evenly split Senate. That legislation increased payments for child tax credits to $3,600 for eligible children under 6 and $3,000 for children between 6 and 17. Additionally, the American Rescue Plan revamped how Americans receive the credit. Instead of receiving one lump sum after filing their taxes, millions receive half their estimated credit in monthly payments of $300 for each child under 6 and $250 for all eligible children. The popular child tax credit plan, which many compared to the stimulus checks sent out, expired at the end of last year. Although Democrats hoped to renew the plan through President Biden's Build Back Better Act, that bill faltered. Instead, Democrats now plan to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, and Sanders hoped to amend that legislation to include an extension of the child tax credit. Well, today, Senate Democrats have finally passed this bill. And now, in a 51-50 vote, Senate Democrats approved their party line package after an amendment process that spanned more than 15 hours. Democrats fought off most GOP efforts to change their fragile deal, but did make a change just before the bill's final passage. They adjusted the corporate minimum tax provisions.
Paying job. With a good paying job, most folks have the time and the resources to take care of themselves, their families, and address the difficulties that sometimes arise in life. I appreciate that this legislation promotes the value of our workforce and focuses on the improvements to the apprenticeship programs, digital literacy programs, and summer job programs for our youth.
As gas prices continue to rise, both Democrats and Republican lawmakers have officially proposed a new relief plan that would actually send out extra financial aid to people. $300 monthly checks could begin to be sent out as soon as next month. So you want to be sure to watch until the end of the video to find out if you're eligible for the stimulus check. New price records have also been set across the US for fuel since the crisis began. Most recently, a new barrier has been reached. The price of a gallon of gasoline is at least $4 in every state in the United States. And according to AAA, prices have been rising since the turn of the year. The average price for a gallon of fuel was $3.28 in January, while the national average has been greater than $4 since March.
For that warm welcome you've given me here in Japan. In recent years, the alliance between Japan and the United States has grown stronger, deeper, and more capable as we work together to take on the challenges just as important as the opportunities of a rapidly changing world. A great example of this, we viewed Japan's lunar rover just coming out here before, after lunch. A symbol of how our space cooperation is taking off, looking toward the moon and to Mars. And I'm excited. The work we'll do together on the Gateway station around the moon, and look forward to the first Japanese astronaut joining us in the mission to the lunar surface under the Artemis program. And tomorrow we're going to meet with our fellow Quad partners, Australia and India, for our 4th Leaders Summit and our 2nd time meeting together in person. The Quad is showing the world that cooperation among democracies can get big things done, and I'm grateful for your leadership.
There were 3 Midwestern states that were under $4 a gallon: Georgia, Kansas, and Oklahoma. With price rises on Tuesday, these 3 are over to March. Some drivers, like those in California, are paying over $6 for a gallon. The state has already proposed measures to help consumers by giving drivers a $400 payment to keep their car on the road. With U.S. infrastructure tailored to driving a car everywhere, the rise in fuel prices is to affect nearly every person. This will lead to a reduction in spending on other items, as people are forced to cut back. Though other essentials are also being affected by inflation or shortages. The April Consumer Price Index, which measures changes in the cost of food, housing, gas, utilities, and other goods, rose by 8.3% over the past 12 months. Standard household purchases continue to be significantly more expensive than a year ago. The price of food increased 9.4%, the largest 12-month increase since April 1981. There has been an increase in the cost of food, fuel, and vehicles. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows gasoline alone is up nearly 44%, and energy prices are up 30% over last year. Used vehicle prices are also up nearly 23% of the year, and new vehicle prices have risen 13%. Now, the Federal Reserve and experts believe inflation is more temporary than long-term. Dean Baker, an economist, told Yahoo News, once the supply chain issues are worked out, in a lot of cases, these prices will actually drop. Despite inflation hitting a 40-year high in January, several items have actually gotten cheaper over the last year. Prices dropped for more than a dozen goods and services from January 2021 to January 2022. There is another relief plan that has been proposed. Utah Senator Mitt Romney's Family Security Act is very similar to what the expanded child tax credit was, offering families that are eligible with children up to 5 years old $350 a month, while children 6 to 17 would get $250. In comparison, the child tax credit initiated in the American Rescue Plan gave families $300 a month for children under 6 and $250 per month for children 6 to 17. Perhaps the greatest difference